Names: the 7 actors he hates most. James Garner was born James Scott Bum Garner on April 7, 1928, in Norman, Oklahoma. Garner's early life was far from glamorous. He grew up during the Great Depression, facing significant hardships, including the loss of his mother at a young age and a strained relationship with a stepmother. These early struggles helped forge his tough, self-reliant nature, traits that would later define many of his most iconic characters. He dropped out of high school and later joined the U.S. Merchant Marine during World War II, followed by service in the U.S. Army during the Korean War, where he earned 2 Purple Hearts. These real-life experiences added an air of authenticity and quiet heroism to his on-screen persona. Garner's acting career began almost by accident. After dabbling in modeling and taking small roles in television commercials, he was encouraged to pursue acting. He studied at the famed Pasadena Playhouse, although he often joked about his limited formal training. His big break came in 1957 when he was cast as the laid-back gambler Brett Maverick in the TV Western Maverick. Unlike the typical stoic, gunslinging cowboys of the era, Garner's Maverick was affable, clever, and reluctant to fight unless absolutely necessary. The role made him a star overnight and redefined the Western genre, injecting it with a dose of humor and humanity that resonated deeply with audiences. After leaving Maverick in the early 1960s due to disputes with Warner Brothers, Garner transitioned successfully to film. He quickly established himself as a charismatic leading man in movies such as The Great Escape, 1963, where he played a resourceful scrounger among Allied POWs, and the Americanization of Emily, 1964, a daring anti-war romantic drama opposite Julie Andrews. His performance in Support Your Local Sheriff, 1969, was a return to his comedic Western roots, and the film remains a cult favorite. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Garner alternated between romantic leads and tough, intelligent heroes, proving his versatility in films like Grand Prix, Victor Victoria, and Murphy's Romance, the latter of which earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. Despite his film success, Garner found his greatest and most enduring small-screen role in the 1970s as private detective Jim Rockford in The Rockford Files. The show ran from 1974 to 1980 and featured Garner as a down-on-his-luck ex-con turned investigator who preferred wit and negotiation over violence. With its clever writing, memorable supporting cast, and Garner's everyman charm, The Rockford Files became a classic of American television and earned Garner an Emmy Award in 1977. His portrayal of Rockford was often cited as one of the most realistic and relatable depictions of a detective on TV, influencing countless shows that followed. Garner's career continued into the 1980s, 1990s, and beyond, with roles in major films such as Space Cowboys, Divine Secrets of the Ya-Ya Sisterhood, and The Notebook, where he played the older version of Ryan Gosling's character, moving audiences with a poignant and heartfelt performance that introduced him to a new generation. He also returned to television occasionally, including reprising his Maverick and Rockford Files characters and starring in series like 8 Simple Rules. Despite James Garner's immense popularity in Hollywood and his naturally sociable demeanor, those who knew him often remarked on how remarkably grounded and humble he remained throughout his life. While he was a charismatic and well-loved figure on screen and in public, he consciously kept his private life closely guarded. Garner was never one to seek out the spotlight beyond his professional obligations, preferring instead to cultivate a sense of normalcy in his home life. His colleagues frequently described him as refreshingly unpretentious, someone who treated everyone, from crew members to co-stars, with the same genuine kindness and respect. Though he had the fame and fortune that many in Hollywood craved, Garner found his greatest sense of fulfillment not from public adoration, but from the stability and love he shared with his family behind closed doors. Garner was married only once in his lifetime, to Lois Josephine Fleischman Clark, a union that defied the odds of Hollywood marriages and stood as a testament to enduring love and mutual respect. Their story began at a party in 1956, where fate brought them together in what Garner would later describe as an instant connection. Captivated by her from the beginning, he pursued her with unwavering enthusiasm. The couple went out to dinner every night for 2 weeks straight, building a rapid but deep bond. Just 16 days after they met, they were married on August 17, 1956, a whirlwind romance that led to a lifelong commitment. Garner, known for his dry wit, would later reflect on the simplicity and sincerity of their early days together, joking, "I spent $70 on our honeymoon, and it about broke me." His quote about marriage is like the army. Everyone complains, but you'd be surprised at the large number of people who re-enlist, offers a humorous but revealing glimpse into his philosophy on love, loyalty, and the trials that come with both. Lois, who was Jewish, brought with her a daughter from a previous marriage. Kimberly, who was 9 years old at the time and recovering from polio, a battle that had left a lasting impression on the family. Garner embraced his role as stepfather wholeheartedly, showing compassion, patience, and love as he helped Kimberly through her recovery and beyond. He would later become a father in his own right when he and Lois welcomed their daughter, Greta Gigi Garner, on January 4, 1958. Gigi, who would go on to become an author and advocate for animal rights, was deeply influenced by her father's quiet strength, integrity, and kindness. Garner was known to be a devoted and affectionate father, even as his demanding career often took him away from home for extended periods. Despite the pressures of fame and the long hours associated with a successful acting career, Garner and Lois remained married for nearly 58 years, until his passing in 2014. However, like many long-term relationships, theirs was not without its challenges. They experienced 2 significant separations over the course of their marriage. The first occurred in 1970 and lasted for about 3 months, a brief period during which they took time apart to reflect and regroup. The second separation, more extended, took place in 1979 and lasted for approximately 2 years. Garner candidly admitted that this time apart was not due to problems in their marriage per se, but rather a result of the mounting stress and physical toll that his acting career was taking on him. During this second separation, Garner split his time between Canada and a rented home in the San Fernando Valley. He sought solitude, not out of dissatisfaction with his wife or family, but because he needed a reprieve from the intense pressures of Hollywood. He was especially candid about the grueling experience of filming The Rockford Files, a popular television series in which he appeared in nearly every scene. Garner, who suffered from severe arthritis in his knees and chronic back pain, performed many of his own stunts, an endeavor that exacerbated his physical ailments. He recalled being in constant discomfort while under unrelenting stress from the studio, which demanded increasingly more of his time and energy. By 1979, both his body and spirit were worn down, and he made the difficult decision to leave the show in order to preserve his health and sanity. Still, throughout these personal and professional struggles, the foundation of his marriage to Lois remained solid. They reunited in September 1981 and remained together from then on. Their reunion was not a grand public reconciliation, but rather a quiet and deeply personal decision that reflected their enduring commitment to one another. Until his final days, Garner spoke of Lois with affection, gratitude, and admiration. Their love story was marked not by Hollywood glamour, but by resilience, mutual understanding, and an unwavering bond that weathered life's storms. It was a marriage grounded not in perfection, but in love, a theme that echoed the authentic, grounded way James Garner approached everything in his life. James Garner names the 7 actors he hates most, and explains why. James Garner, beloved for his easygoing charm and gentlemanly demeanor both on and off screen, shocked Hollywood in a rare moment of candor when he revealed the 7 actors he liked the least during his decades-long career in film and television. Known for iconic roles in Maverick, The Rockford Files, and The Great Escape, Garner was typically measured and diplomatic when it came to speaking about his peers. However, in a little-known interview from his later years, and partially recounted in his 2011 memoir, The Garner Files, he broke his silence on a handful of actors who, for various reasons, rubbed him the wrong way. Garner was not one to seek conflict. A Korean War veteran, he prided himself on his strong work ethic, sense of fairness, and aversion to Hollywood phoniness. "I don't suffer fools well," he once said bluntly. "If you're difficult, I don't have time for you." It's in this context that his list of least favorite actors was born, not from petty jealousy, but from genuine grievances with arrogance, dishonesty, and disrespect. 1. Steve McQueen. He had a chip on his shoulder the size of Texas. Garner starred alongside Steve McQueen in the 1963 World War II classic, The Great Escape, and while he respected McQueen's talent, he found his behavior less than admirable. "Steve could be incredibly insecure," Garner wrote. "He always had to be the coolest guy in the room, and he'd undercut you if he thought you were getting too much attention." Garner didn't hate McQueen personally, but he disliked the behind-the-scenes power plays. McQueen, known for stealing scenes and being competitive, often tried to dominate screen time, a practice Garner found childish. Despite this, he later softened his tone, admitting McQueen's troubled upbringing likely contributed to his defensive attitude. 2. Charles Bronson. He just didn't like anybody. Garner worked with Charles Bronson only indirectly, but their paths crossed in social circles and industry gatherings. Bronson was famously gruff and antisocial, which Garner found difficult to warm up to. Charlie didn't want friends. He was a loner, and if he didn't like you, you knew it within 5 seconds. Garner, who valued camaraderie on set, took issue with Bronson's coldness and general hostility, once remarking, "It's hard to work with someone who's angry at the world." 3. Marlon Brando. A brilliant actor, but an insufferable ego. Garner never starred with Brando, but he had strong feelings about the acting legend's temperament. Brando, often praised as a method acting genius, also had a reputation for being difficult, uncooperative, and self-indulgent. Garner, a professional through and through, disliked what he saw as Brando's narcissism. He thought he was reinventing the wheel every time he got on set. "We all have our process, but there's no excuse for wasting everyone's time." 4. Bruce Dern. You don't step on your co-stars. In a supporting role opposite Garner in a Western project that never made it to full production, Bruce Dern reportedly clashed with Garner during rehearsals. Dern's tendency to ad-lib and shift, blocking to favor his character, didn't sit well with Garner, who was known for precision and professionalism. "I don't mind creativity," Garner noted, "but I draw the line when someone's trying to steal a scene instead of share it." 5. Edward G. Robinson. He talked down to people. Garner once had a meeting with Robinson for a potential film collaboration late in the older actor's career. While Garner admired Robinson's film Noir Legacy, the conversation left him cold. "He treated me like some punk kid off the street," Garner said. "I've been shot at in Korea, Ed. I think I can handle a line of dialogue." The lack of mutual respect ended any potential partnership. 6. Kirk Douglas. He was always competing. Kirk Douglas, a powerhouse of ambition and intensity, didn't mesh well with Garner's more relaxed and collaborative style. While the two never worked closely, Garner had run-ins with Douglas at industry events and on set visits. He was always measuring himself against everyone. "I prefer to let the work speak for itself." Garner also found Douglas to be controlling when producing projects, micromanaging actors, and undermining directors. 7. Ryan O'Neal, the poster child for Hollywood entitlement. Garner had little patience for actors he saw as ungrateful or self-important, and Ryan O'Neal epitomized that to him. He had the looks, he had the breaks, but he didn't have the humility. According to Garner, O'Neill once threw a tantrum at a studio party over the color of the wine being served. If that's your biggest problem in life, you've already lost the plot. Garner also resented how O'Neill treated crew members and assistants, stating, "You can tell a lot about someone by how they treat the people who can't do anything for them." Garner's code: respect, reliability, and reality. While hate might be too strong a word for some of the names on Garner's list, it's clear that he placed a premium on decency, teamwork, and integrity. For all his fame, Garner remained deeply grounded. He once said, "I'm not a star. I'm an actor. Stars fall. I don't want to fall. I want to keep working." In truth, Garner's criticisms weren't about ego. They were about ethics. He believed that success in Hollywood shouldn't come at the cost of humility or humanity. His willingness to call out bad behavior, however rare, only reinforced what fans loved most about him. He wasn't afraid to tell the truth, even in a town built on illusion. James Garner, the beloved American actor known for his charm, wit, and enduring screen presence, passed away on July 19, 2014, at the age of 86. His death came less than a month before what would have been a milestone in his personal life: his 58th wedding anniversary with his wife, Lois Clark. The couple had married on August 17, 1956, after just a brief 2-week courtship, defying the odds and proving skeptics wrong with a marriage that spanned nearly 6 decades. Their relationship was not only one of Hollywood's most enduring, but also one of the most private and respectful, far removed from the glare of celebrity scandal. Garner often credited Lois as the stabilizing force in his life, someone who gave him unwavering support through the ups and downs of his career in television and film. Despite their differences, Garner once admitted that he and Lois were not only opposites, but not even close. Their bond endured through time, strengthened by mutual respect, affection, and a shared sense of humor. His death marked the end of a remarkable chapter for the couple, as Lois Clark had been by his side for nearly all of his adult life, including during his rise to fame with iconic roles in Maverick, The Rockford Files, and numerous acclaimed films. Garner's passing was a deeply felt loss not only to his family and friends, but to fans around the world who had come to admire not only his acting talent, but also his authenticity and humility off-screen. Lois Clark Garner lived on for 7 more years after her husband's passing. She died on October 21, 2021, at the age of 98, quietly and peacefully, leaving behind a legacy intertwined with one of the great love stories of Hollywood. Though she largely remained out of the public eye, Lois played a central role in her husband's life and was the cornerstone of their family. Her passing marked the close of an era, one defined by love, loyalty, and an unbreakable bond between two people who weathered the storms of fame, health struggles, and time together. Their nearly 58-year marriage remains a rare and touching example of lasting commitment, especially in the ever-changing landscape of the entertainment industry.